literally can't make this up. Quote, Jerry's a young 74, cancer notwithstanding. You guys are a joke. You guys are pathetic. I mean, this is embarrassing, bro. This is embarrassing. You wonder, like, oh, gosh golly, how do we lose to Donald Trump? I don't understand. This is so crazy. I thought we had this unlocked. Jerry's a young 74, cancer notwithstanding. So we get this fucking dinosaur centrist who's never made a good argument in his life, never been compelling, never generated any headlines ever. This is going to be the guy to lead the committee to take on MAGA and be one of the most front and center Democrats for Trump's second term. Are you guys out of your mind? And so why? Why did Pelosi orchestrate this? You guys know. You remember when AOC first got there? You had like Green New Deal protesters in Pelosi's office. And what did AOC do? She went in the office and she joined the protesters and she gave a speech. And Nancy Pelosi has never let that go. Because to Nancy Pelosi, the biggest sin is actually believing in something and taking on your own party about that thing. She says, no, we have hierarchy. We have order. We have leadership. What the top says goes, and that's the end of the conversation.
And I get seniority, I get knowledge and expertise, but also I think it is important to have some younger, fresher voices leading the charge, especially against these crazy, demented MAGA people. And I think this is an example where just like, when, the Democrats, they chose to lead the Communications and Policy Committee. They chose.
Boy. We have to continue our coverage of the implosion that is happening on the left, okay? Because leftists and progressives are big mad, right? They're big mad over Nancy Pelosi and the establishment Democrats tanking AOC's bid to become basically an official leader of the Democrat Party, right? To be a ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. AOC tried and failed to win over her colleagues, her Democrat colleagues in the House, and now progressives are upset, right? They're fuming, okay? They're mad. They're saying that, hey, the Democrat Party is too old, which according to some of these same people, just a few months ago when Joe Biden was still in the presidential race, criticizing somebody in their age, saying they're too old to run or to be in office. Yeah, that's ageist, okay? That is ageist rhetoric, right? You're a bigot against old people, okay, for saying that they shouldn't be in leadership positions. But now all of a sudden, these same individuals, they are criticizing the Democrats because AOC got rejected by her colleagues, okay? And I want to react to The View and their response on this because low-key, they're kind of turning against the Democrats. You have Sonny Hostin fuming, upset, throwing a fit over AOC being rejected. And they're going to acknowledge that Nancy Pelosi and some of these establishment Democrats meddling in the Democrat Party and the leadership who's leading the party and not letting some of their younger progressives take the reins was holding the Democrat Party back, which I don't really agree with that. But again, that is the argument that is being made here. So without further ado, let's get into it.
But let me be very clear. No one can walk away. No one can walk away. We must stay in the fight.
And so now, of course, some aren't sure how much the party is listening to young Democrats, because yesterday, Congresswoman AOC lost her bid to lead Democrats in the House Oversight Committee to more moderate Congressman Jerry Conley. So what does the party, this is a question, what does the party have to do to reconnect with voters?
Go ahead.
Why are you asking the Republican? I think the Dems should start. I got thoughts, but I'll let you start.
I can start. Look, young people were still the age group with the highest support for the Democratic candidate this year. So we can start there. I don't think that young people have necessarily left the Democratic Party. Yes, there have been some gains made by the Republican Party, but by and large, young people are voting democratically. The other thing that I will say is about AOC, she has been demonized by the right, and she's been demonized as this like too progressive, far left person. And I want to try to set the record straight, because if she is too progressive, then the Democrats really are going to lose the working class, because this is her platform. The key issues: healthcare for all people, affordable housing, rebuild the unions, federal job guarantee, free public college, create clean energy jobs, pay parental leave, and expand protections for the LGBTQ plus community. If that is too progressive for this country, then that's a problem for the Democrats, and that's a problem, quite frankly, for this country.
That used to be a description of a liberal.
But the devils are...
Wow. The ignorance here is just off the charts, right? The ignorance here is off the charts. Okay, I want you guys to understand. This is the thing about progressives that really get me. Again, what they say sounds great. It sounds amazing to have a federal jobs guarantee, which according to Sonny Hostin, that is one of AOC's policy positions, right? But when you actually dig into, well, what does that entail, right? What does it look like to have a federal jobs guarantee? What it looks like is massive spending on a bunch of jobs that should not exist, that don't actually really contribute to real production in this country. Now, what does that ultimately lead to when you have a bunch of spending that doesn't lead to real production? Okay. That leads to inflation, okay, which is what has happened over the past 3 to 4 years under the Biden administration. A large amount of the inflation, in my opinion, can be attributed to the overspending from the Democrat Party, and AOC and the Bernie Sanders people of the Democrat Party. If they could have it their way, they wanted to spend even more than the Democrats decided to spend during the pandemic, despite the fact that we knew it was not necessary to continue to pump more money into the economy. We knew it wasn't necessary, but Democrats decided to do it anyways. And again, if the so-called progressives could have it their way, they will run up $10 trillion more in debt. Like, for example, AOC wanted a $10 trillion infrastructure package. That's what she wanted. She supported a $10 trillion infrastructure package. Now, I'm not one of these people that doesn't believe that we need to upgrade our infrastructure. But the problem is that when you do it under democratically run administrations, it creates a whole lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. Like, for example, when it comes to the billions of dollars that was spent to build electric charging stations on federal highways, none of that has been done, right? They haven't built but a handful of electric charging stations, despite spending billions of dollars to do it. When it comes to the government internet that they're supposed to connect for everybody in rural America, they spent $40+ billion on that, and nobody's been connected to the internet yet, right? Nobody's been connected. They spent a whole bunch of money on these projects that never get done. They never get completed because a ton of these progressive agencies, these watchdog groups, these environmental groups, etc., they actually receive the money, and then they go out of their way to stop the projects from ever coming to fruition because they have an incentive structure to stifle any type of real production in this country, right? That's what happens. And then you got to go back and spend more and more money, and nothing ever gets done. It's very inefficient. So again, this is why I don't trust progressive governance. Again, a lot of this stuff, it sounds great. Sounds good. Oh, jobs for everybody. Universal jobs. Universal health care. Universal daycare. $25 minimum wage. Right? It all sounds great. But in practice, in execution, it's an absolute disaster. Look at all of these so-called progressive cities across the country. Look at them. And you can see that progressive governance is a disaster each and every single time. Each and every single time. But they'll blame something else, though. They'll say, no, it's not because of progressive governance. It's because of something else. Something else abstract, like, I don't know, white supremacy or something. That's what they'll say. Okay? That's why they're failing. It's amazing. But again, Sonny Hostin doesn't think that, AOC is far left, right? That's not far left. All of those silly things that she believes in.
So health care for all should be an everybody issue.
But the devil's in the details, because a lot of this country does not support, for example, the Green New Deal, which would absolutely crush jobs across this country, wreak havoc on the economy.
It would create millions of jobs, actually.
It would actually make international travel virtually impossible to do because of some of the regulations that have been in place. Universal health care. You should have, of course, anyone who needs emergency coverage, people should have catastrophic coverage, but most Americans think they want to have some choice and optionality in their health care. There's a reason Obamacare did not have the public option. That's not where the majority of the country is. I would argue that AOC is definitely too left for the majority of the country. But from my perspective as a Republican who didn't support Trump, this may sound weird, I think Democrats focus too much on Trump. People who were going to be with Donald Trump were going to be with Donald Trump. There needed to be more of a, this is who we are, this is what we're proactively fighting for. And I can think of 3 or 4 policies that were laid out by the vice president. She talked about this support for elderly parents. She talked about these first-time home buyer payments. But they need
opportunity economy.
But again, that's a platitude. What does it mean? You know, like, and I didn't know that by
a 90-page
but
white paper.
But in this world we live in, by like when you have 3 months, especially, I don't know that people knew what she was for. And then a lot of her positions in 2020, she was on the complete opposite side of now. So I think you have to decide what is it, not just what you're against.
I have to say that I like what AOC says. It's very FDR.
It is.
It's very, most people in this country want all of those things.
Most people in this country do not really want a progressive agenda, right? They might think they want it, but they really don't want it, okay? I mean, it's just very unfortunate that sometimes you got to give people what they want or what they think they want in order for them to realize that it's bad. Like, for example, when it comes to open borders, right? You had to give it to them in order for people to realize, oh, wait, unfettered illegal immigration into this country is not great, right? That's not a good thing, okay? Or you have to give them defund the police via police officers quitting en masse due to anti-police resentment in this country and cutting police budgets and things like that. Yeah, you have to give them that for them to realize, oh, wait, this is actually not good, right? Or, you know, getting rid of cash bail and stuff like that, not good things, okay? When you talk about, for example, the healthcare system as well, too, you know, a lot of people, you know, we all can agree that the system needs some work, right? That there are flaws in the system, but when you actually poll people and you ask them, you know, how are they satisfied with their own individual plans and their own individual doctors, most people are okay.
All right, we talk about the healthcare system in this country. Look, the bottom line is Americans really don't like it. Some might even say they hate it. Talk about is the quality of the healthcare in this country excellent or good? Just 44% say it's excellent or good. Look at the coverage. Look at the coverage. 28% say that the coverage is excellent or good. The quality is the lowest this century, this 44%, the lowest this century. Viewpoints on healthcare in this country going downward. How about the cost? Just 19%. Just 19% of Americans are satisfied with the cost of health care in this country. So the bottom line is when you're talking about the health care system overall, Americans really don't like it, John.
But there's a difference between the healthcare and their healthcare. 2 letters can make all the difference in the world.
Can make all the difference in the world. You know, sometimes we talk about approval of Congress versus approval of your own congressman. People don't like Congress, but they like their own congressman. Something similar is going on here when you talk about the nation's healthcare system or the healthcare in the nation versus your own healthcare. Your own healthcare. Look at this. Excellent or good. The quality of it. 71% say it's excellent or good. How about the coverage of it? 65% say that their coverage is excellent or good. How about satisfied with the cost? A majority, 58%, say that they're satisfied with the cost. So the bottom line is this. You wonder why the healthcare system in this country stays the same. It's because people don't like healthcare in sort of the abstract, but when it comes to their own healthcare, a lot of Americans actually are pretty gosh darn satisfied with it.
Again, I just want to show people, again, this is the healthcare.
Yes.
Their healthcare. The healthcare. Their healthcare. It turns out people like their healthcare. A majority do. And in some cases, a vast majority.
That's exactly right, which is why, you know, we've seen these sort of movements to change the healthcare system in this country. And you say, oh, you look at that first slide, say, oh, wow, yeah, there should definitely be a lot of movement for it. But then all of a sudden, like when it came to Obamacare, there was that real hill that people ran into. And it's because people actually like their own health care and afraid that it's going to get changed.
Well, you talked about Obamacare. What about lower income people in general?
Yeah, what about lower income people in general when it comes to their own health care? Look at this. I mean, many adults, even in the lower income bracket, those who make less than $50,000 a year, say the quality of their health care is excellent or good. The coverage is excellent or good, 56%. And satisfied with the cost, which you might expect to be significantly lower among the lower income brackets, actually it's slightly higher at 63%. So the bottom line is this. Yes, Americans don't like the health care in this country in the abstract, but when it comes specifically to their health care, they're far more satisfied.
Yeah, so again, it's a lot more nuanced there. Well, everybody wants free government health care, which is not free, okay? It is unaffordable, okay? I think that, yeah, in the ideal world, I mean, healthcare, you would have great coverage and low cost, right? That's all what we want. But unfortunately for this country, that ain't going to come via universal healthcare. It's just not going to happen, okay? I'm just keeping it 100. And this is why you have to find alternative ways to bring down the cost of healthcare for the country as a whole. And that's why you have movements like, for example, RFK's Make America Healthy Again movement, which I think is probably going to be one of the most productive ways to change the culture of how we think about food, fitness, diet, exercise, again, things that contribute to overall health, okay? And hopefully it reduces the demand for people having to use the healthcare system, which ultimately I'm hoping will bring down prices, right? If we can solve the obesity crisis. But these individuals rage against people like RFK and Make America Healthy Again as some type of threat, right, to this country. So again, I just find these conversations to be fascinating.
The people in the Senate and the Congress, they don't seem to pay attention to what the people actually want. They do to stay in office. They do whatever they have to do. But there's a thing the Democrats do that most politicians do. I think the Republicans did it back in the day with John McCain. It's like, it's your turn. Kamala's in position. It's her turn.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, he did not retire early enough so that there could be an open, what do they call it? Primary. Exactly. Thank you. That's a simple word. And yet, there would have been an open primary. Yeah. We would have seen what was out there a little bit more. You know, I saw this movie, The Conclave, about electing a pope.
Oh, that's a great
All of the cardinals get together and they elect the pope. They don't say, oh, I like Giuseppe better than Irving. They vote, just like they should have done in the Democratic Party. It's just as bad as what they're doing with Trump, which is this loyalty oath that everybody has to take and bow down and kiss his ring. Mm-hmm. It's not about who's the best person. It's about who do you feel is in the next in line to do the job with the Democrats and with the Republicans, and how many times can I kiss this guy's butt?
Well, I think
You know what's hilarious about this? Again, they can't criticize Democrats without also trying to criticize Trump. Joy Behar is essentially just admitting that, yeah, democracy doesn't exist within the Democrat Party, right? The Democrat Party ain't democratic. And instead of just focusing on that, oh, no, you got to bring up Trump, right? And it's like, what Joy Behar is talking about in regards to loyalty to Trump are the actual people, the voters, saying, if you, as a Republican, don't go along with the America First agenda, which is what the voters want, then, yeah, we're not going to support you, right? It's not about Trump demand. It's about America First, right? It's about the policy agenda. That's what it's really about. So it's not about loyalty to one man. It's about loyalty to the America First agenda, period. And any Republican that is not in line with that, the people are saying that, okay, we don't want you to represent us. It's really that simple. But there is democracy. The people are voting. That's the key, right? That's the difference. In the Democrat Party, not so much, right? You don't get the opportunity to vote, to actually choose your leader. Your leader is chosen for you, and then you are expected to get in line, or else you're racist, right? Or you're a bigot, or you're MAGA, or pro-Trump.
Rahm Emanuel hit it right on the head in an op-ed for the Washington Post. He had two parts that really kind of stuck with me. He talked about with inflation stinging, school absenteeism skyrocketing, students' academic scores plummeting, Democrats consume themselves in debates over pronouns, bathroom access, and renaming schools, and adopted terms such as care economy and Latinx to win over voters. And I think what it comes down to is oftentimes Democrats tend to tell people what to care about rather than listening to what they actually care about. Because he goes on to say, you know, they tiptoe around issues like crime, immigration, homelessness, and then they quote stats, while meanwhile there's an uptick in carjackings and you have to lock up deodorant in CVS.
Crime is down.
But you're doing exactly my point here. What happens is each time people show statistics, everyone's saying crime is a problem. That doesn't make them feel better when you say, but it's not.
Like, if it's not their lived experience, the stat
but here's
yeah. That is spot on, right? 100% spot on from Sarah Hayes. She's right. It's gaslighting. When you continuously tell people that their reality isn't real, that they shouldn't believe their lying eyes, right? They shouldn't believe their eyes and their ears and the things they experience around them. Yeah, people get pissed off about that, right? And they've done this when it comes to every subject: crime, immigration, the economy. It doesn't matter what the subject is. If it doesn't go along with the Democrats and their narrative, then they make it seem like you're the crazy one, right? You're the one that's wrong. You need to reevaluate. Not Democrats, though. Again, I find these conversations to be fascinating. How the cackling hens actually admit some truth about the Democrat Party in the context of Democrats rejecting AOC. But see, here's the problem. The problem is that the reason why Democrats are so caught up on some of these things is because of the far left ideology of people like AOC, especially on these social issues. That's why I say it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Right? Current Democrat leadership, they're old, right? They're a big problem. Okay? They have failed. Okay? But the new progressive leadership, they also are a problem because of the fact that they turn so many people off who don't agree with them. And again, some of their policies and things that they have proposed are just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs insane, right? Absolutely insane. And people are rejecting that, okay? So again, I don't think there's a right answer here for Democrats. I think they're screwed regardless of what they do. I'm just enjoying the implosion, right? To be honest with you. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.